What's going on, everyone, and welcome to this week's vegan news. This week there has been a lot of things happening, and a lot of you are going to be very happy waiting for that, the great news you've been waiting for. But unfortunately, there has been a lot of bad news that was not covered by most vegan news platforms, and that's why I make these episodes, to basically ruin your good mood. So let's start with the good news. Apparently the plant-based searches, so the word plant-based, has been skyrocketing on the internet ever since the documentary Game Changers came out. Now, for those of you who don't know, Game Changers is a documentary that talks about a plant-based diet and athletes. It's not really a vegan documentary, it's not about the ethics of veganism, which is also why the term plant-based has been skyrocketing on the internet. Thousands and thousands of people are looking for new ways of eating and being healthier, and that is really great. So it is a great news to see such a high skyrocketing impact of the word plant-based on the internet because of the documentary. Another great news, which is not really a news, it's just something I'd like to share with you, is Moby's a new vegan as he celebrates 32 years of veganism, tattooing animal rights on his arms. This is amazing. It's really amazing because he also already has another tattoo that says "vegan for life" on his neck. So as the big artist that he is, it's really nice to see that he's not hiding this. He's not being like a closet vegan, he's putting it out there, he's putting it in people's faces. Wherever he goes now, people are gonna see those messages, and that's absolutely amazing. Another great news is the chicken farmer who actually stopped farming chicken and started growing hemp instead. So basically he realized that this is just not working out, it's not nice what's happening to animals, it's not good for the environment, we don't really have the right to do this to the animals, and he switched to hemp farming. Now, hemp farming is very important because hemp is one of those plants that can provide us with so many sustainable alternatives to what we're doing. So just with hemp, you can make actually hempcrete, which is concrete that gets stronger with time. You can make clothing, you can make insulation, you can make so many things with hemp. You can make paper as well. So it's really good to see that farmers are switching from being one of the most disruptive industries to one of the most sustainable one, and hopefully the one that's going to be ruling the future. For those of you who hadn't heard, there was a German lab that was being attacked, not physically, but all over the internet and the news because of undercover footage that came out from the experiments they were doing on the animals. And an animal rights team was working on this. It went so viral that the German testing lab has now been accused of animal abuse, and they're going to close in 2020. Now, this is a great news. It's a great news because it shows that when the information is out there, the public is gonna back up these campaigns, and that's absolutely amazing. It's also great that the lab has been feeling enough pressure to end up closing down. The bad part is that the tests are just gonna be done somewhere else. So it's very important that as a community, when we have these campaigns, we also campaign against not letting these experiments being done in other labs. We just don't want them done anywhere for the animals, not just like in a better lab. That would be welfarism, and veganism is not about welfarism, it's about animal liberation. However, it is something good that the work of an animal rights organization has paid off, and they're going to close down due to the pressure and the campaigning that they've been doing. But no matter what happens afterwards, it is, I think, in my opinion, a good news that such a strong campaign led by an animal rights organization is having an impact on a specific industry. Another great news is a new documentary that's going to be coming out next month by the maker of 73 Cows, which is an amazing, around 15 minutes long documentary about a farmer who switched from farming to a sanctuary. Now, the next documentary this person is making is called Test Subjects, and it's actually about animal experiments, and I am so happy to see this because it's very important to have more and more documentaries out there, specifically the quality of the documentary that was made for 73 Cows. I'm so looking forward to seeing the new one. It's gonna be absolutely amazing, and I hope you can all watch it. Now, I kind of saved the best for the last when it comes to good news, and I'm sure most of you already know what I'm talking about. Dean Foods filed for bankruptcy in the States. So Dean Foods is one of the most famous and largest dairy producers in the United States, and they have just filed for bankruptcy. Now, we're gonna be realistic. We're not gonna start jumping around, claiming victory. The main reason was not the rise of veganism. One of the reasons was people choosing alternative milk products, which is great. That's absolutely amazing. However, it's also due to other companies making cheaper milk, importing cheaper milk, the pressure that there is from other companies. It's really so many different things, and we can't just take responsibility and claim that we did this. We definitely played a part, and that is absolutely amazing, and I thank you all for that. But let's keep our feet on the ground and think well about what's happening. We have to always keep our eyes open as well, that these industries don't get bought off with hacks like the subsidies that the government uses, which of course another huge shout out to Vegan Justice League, who is working against government subsidies, who keep these industries alive year after year after year. Keep in mind that this is not a final victory. We should always continue on checking what is going on afterwards. Now we're gonna switch from here to the bad news. Even though Dean Foods filed for bankruptcy and the AMPI closed 2 dairy plants in the Midwest, the total US dairy output is up from 2018, which means more products were sold, even though there were some financial struggles. And this is happening, this is a fact. We have to keep our eyes open on why this is happening. So as I've covered in a couple of other vegan news episodes, one of the reasons is that even though milk is not being sold as much as before, butter is, cheese is, other products are. So the companies are still making money, and dairy is still being sold every single year more than the year before. Another reason could also be the export of dairy products. So the companies are still making more and more products. If they don't sell it in their own nation, they send it abroad. The next bad news is a country that pops up in every single vegan news episode, and almost every single time only in the bad section. Yep, China. Beef exports to China set to increase tenfold from Ireland. So this is, tenfold. That's intense. Can you imagine the hundreds of thousands of animals that are going to be killed because of this? Now there's 2 different reasons for this. One is that the billion people that they have, more than 1 billion people that they have, are starting to consume more animal products, including beef. The other reason is that the African swine fever, who has cleared millions of pigs across China, it's a disease that has taken over Chinese farms, is causing people to either just eat pig products that are coming from abroad or just switching to beef. And as Ireland has started exporting to China, they are going to be going up tenfold. That means that their industry that is making 9 million euros a year is going to be making 120 million euros by 2020. That's not bad news. I don't know what is. Talking about China, the US is going to start exporting poultry to China, which means chicken products. Now in 2015, due to a disease that there was in farms, there was a ban on doing this, but ever since then the disease has apparently disappeared. Therefore, they're lifting the ban, and US is going to start exporting millions of chickens all the way to China and cause massive pollution and incredible amounts of animal suffering just for the sake of money, pleasure, habit, and culture. Another bad news. JBS, which is one of those companies that basically lives off destroying the planet and killing billions of animals, has just shared their most recent report, which shows that they have made up to 6% more profit than last year. Now, JBS is responsible for also a lot of deforestation in the Amazon rainforest and obviously millions of deaths for the animals, and I cannot think of anything worse than realizing that in their 3rd quarter this year they made more money than last year. Talking about comparing how companies are doing between last year and this year in October alone there was a 15% rise of beef exports from Brazil to China. Again, I guess at one point animal rights activists have to sit down and see what we can do all together to start impacting the growth of animal product demand that is coming from China. And that would mean also working with Chinese activists, and to be honest, I have absolutely no idea if that would be in any way possible given the amount of censorship that they have there. Hopefully it is possible. I don't know, maybe I'm just talking rubbish, but you know, if you're a Chinese activist and you're watching this and you think it's possible, definitely send me a message. Talking about Brazil, I love it this week. It's like going from country to country. They have just received an approval for 8 of their sites to export more products to Saudi Arabia. Apparently last year up to around 50% of the animal products that they used to send all the way to Saudi Arabia was chickens, and now they have received bigger approval for more companies to send animal products all the way from Brazil to Saudi Arabia. So we've covered the good news, we've covered the quite bad news. Let's switch to weird news. Happy Meat sustainable beef brand launches in the UK. Sustainable beef brand.
Sustainable beef brand.
Saying sustainable and putting beef in the same sentence is like saying, I don't know, humane slaughter. It just doesn't work that way. There's literally nothing sustainable in farming animals and then eating them. So basically what this company is saying is that their cows live 2 years outside free range, and then they eat an intense grain-fed diet, and meanwhile they are also used for milk, and when they are ready for slaughter, they slaughter them. So they're using both for dairy production and beef production, and because they are using some specific ways of doing the farming, they think it's actually sustainable. Now it's just kind of a bad news as well, because they actually launched it in the UK, but at the same time, like, what do these people think? Like, how can you call beef in any way a sustainable product? It just doesn't work. Second weird news, a university that had also put a ban on beef has received complaints from farmers, with the farmers saying that we need your support. So this university is following many other universities like Cambridge and Portugal's oldest university, and basically they want to remove beef from their menu because they want to be more sustainable and environmental friendly. And here comes the farmers saying, hey, we also care about the environment and we need your support, so you have to lift off the ban. Now, fair enough, we should support farmers because they're also human beings, but do we want to support them in their unethical businesses that are also causing such massive environmental impact? We don't. We actually want to support them in making the government, getting them better jobs and giving them better opportunities to create sustainable products without killing innocent animals. So that's it for I Got You There. You know, I usually always say the good news in the beginning, then the bad news, or the opposite, and then finish it with the weird news. But I feel like this week was quite sad, so I kept one good news for the last, so that you will feel better after watching this video. An update, all orcas are finally released from a Russian whale jail. Huge shout out to activists and the organization PETA for working so long to make the Russian government release the whales that they had in imprisonment, and this is an amazing thing. Up to 50 individuals were released, and I'm so happy to hear that. And I just wanted to share that with you because yes, there are horrible news this week. There were some good news as well, but the horrible ones were really bad, especially with all the new deals and all the products being sent all the way to China after killing countless animals. I wanted to finish this video with a good news so I can put a smile on your face. Yes, it's okay to smile even though horrible things are happening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. If you want to support my work, check out my Patreon or my website ethicsOverhabits.com for some vegan merchandise. Thank you all so much for the support. Let me know what you think about all these vegan new episodes and what I'm sharing with you in the comment section below. I'll see you next week.